Next item is item 50. First read of an ordinance to amend Title I, Administration, Chapter 6, Municipal Employees of the Code of Ordinance of City of South Fulton, Georgia, to add Section 1-6011, Temporary Employment Services and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by Council Members Williams, Willis, Sebastian, and Reeves.
All right, is there any discussion?
So this is a first read.
Okay, I actually do have some discussion, some questions. I did not see any comments from our HR department. Has this been, and I think, has this been reviewed by our HR department? Is this recommended by our HR department?
Well, at this point, we don't have a HR director as of yesterday. So I can't answer that question whether or not it's being reviewed or recommended by the HR department.
Okay. This is the first read. I do have some concerns. Paragraph 1-611.3 says that the use of temporary agencies to fill positions shall be limited only to those positions that have been identified as being a critical hire by a resolution of the City Council. So my first concern is this, is that I would like to get some feedback from department heads. It has been told to me that multiple departments have used temps and temp agencies, and that the temp agency that you would use to hire someone to answer phones at the front desk is different than the temp agency you might use in a public works or planning capacity. We've had temps for planning. We've had temps in our finance department. And number one, I question council's expertise to identify what is and is not a critical hire across the multiple departments in our city. That's first. The second question that I would have would be, we only meet and vote once a month. So now we don't have an HR director. I don't know how her work is getting divided up. If this resolution, this is a first read, but if this resolution were passing tonight and we needed to hire temps in our HR department, the council would have to decide tonight in its own understanding whether those positions were critical or not. And I just think that we're getting a little bit too far into the management and the human resources of departments in our city, and that we should probably trust the department heads that we've hired and pay six figures to, because every department head in our city makes 6 figures, that they can determine what is a critical hire that they need for their department, and that they don't have to wait until the next council meeting to get permission to hire a temp.
You know, Mayor, I mean, you know, as you all mentioned, I manage the day-to-day operations of the city. And, you know, we want to field all of our positions, but there are opportunities when we need to have a temp agency. We need to have a contract person in a particular position. Since I've been here, we haven't used temp agencies that often. And I'm going to say, relatively speaking, we haven't used them that often. We do have one actually right now in the finance department to help us with purchasing. We have another individual in the finance department to help us as a budget analyst, because we're going through the budget process right now. So, you know, I would say if you would leave that responsibility up to me to determine whether or not we need to have a temp agency, and therefore I don't feel as if legislation is necessary.